everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day to you, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to talk about wholesaling, and we're going to get you into it, and we're going to talk with a friend of mine. Let's make this happen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me have the pleasure of introducing you to my man, Joseph, and his big boom right there. Oh, talk about the timing, bro. I'm on it. Listen, anyway, this is Joseph
I
Frangos.
love it.
He is a friend of mine. We've been boys for a little while now, and I wanted to bring him on today to talk to you guys about wholesaling. So, Joseph, if you could please, bro, give them a little background on you and what you do and how you go about doing it.
Yeah, so my name is Joseph Frangos, and I do wholesaling real estate here in the state of Arizona, specifically Tucson, with my wife, who's my business partner. She's not here right now, but I'm incredibly could not be here without her. I'm gonna have to say that off the cuff.
Love it.
A little bit about me: started doing wholesaling real estate back in 2019. Went to a real estate event, but prior to that, my wife again showed me a video on YouTube and says, "Hey, we should learn more about this wholesaling thing. I think you'll be really good at it." And I'm like, I don't know. Seems like a scam, right? Seems kind of weird. And then sure enough, she goes to bed and kind of brush it off. And then I'm like staying up late and I watched every I think I almost watched every video possible about wholesaling real estate.
Nice.
Jump into a little more, and then I'm like, all right, I don't know. I'm still have a limiting belief. Could this happen? Is this something we can do? Go to this event, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna go whether you're going or not. I'm
Mm.
like, okay. So sure enough, I'm like, I'm gonna go. Right. So we
Like it.
go and we have a great time. We learn a bunch of stuff, and I get to see all these guys I see on YouTube in person. Share some conversations and kind of get to meet and introduce myself. And so immediately after, right, immediately after, the first thing we did was take action. Literally, that event ended on Saturday. By Monday morning, we are taking action,
Right. Nice.
and from there, the rest is it's kind of been interesting to say the least.
So that's dope. So your wife pushed you into wholesaling without you even knowing. You just kind of got into it.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah. Without her,
Uh huh.
I would have never jumped into real estate.
Bro, get yourself a good woman, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever you are out there, get yourself a good spouse who's gonna push you to your limits. All right, man. All right. Let me ask you this. You stayed up. You said that late night that day. What was
hmm
the? Who were you watching when you were staying up, and why'd you watch them and stay with them?
Oh man, I was watching a lot of Quentin Flores,
Okay.
who's now a great friend, soon to be, who knows, maybe a business partner on some stuff. And I also watched a lot of the All In guys, so Alex, Carlos, and Sal, who are based out of Phoenix, and they go by the All In Entrepreneurs.
Right.
I watched a lot of their content, and Alex had a lot of content which was useful and super relevant back then. And so, really, just stayed up watching, taking bunches of notes, and thinking, okay, if these guys did it
Mm-hmm.
and these guys live only an hour and a half away, there's really no reason I can't do it.
Right.
I mean, what's different from me to them?
Right.
So that happened, and then obviously YouTube algorithms pick up. They start to notice what you're watching.
Right.
So then I'm getting Jerry Norton, Max Maxwell, and then I'm like, man, there's a lot of people who do this.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just kind of uh, the thing where you start looking at the views and you see how many people subscribe, and
Right.
okay, this person obviously vetted, right? So
Right.
and from that point, bro, it's just the rest. The rest just kind of fell into place with what was relevant to me and what I could take into action, based off of that information.
That's dope. So now, why Quentin though? What was it about Quentin that made you say, all right, I'm gonna stay with this guy? Because Quentin is, from what I see, very influential in the wholesaling game, in the wholesaling world. Not just wholesaling now, real estate in general. But he's up there in my view with the Max Maxwell's, with the Nasir El Arabis and stuff like that. But for you, what clicked you for you with Quentin?
I think it was the biggest thing. Even my wife pointed it out. Was him and I have similar, not so much upbringings, but backgrounds. So I used
Right.
to get in a lot of trouble when I was younger. I used to do a lot of similar dumb stuff that we did when we were younger. Um, and I resonated with him, and I liked the way that he flowed. I liked the way that he talked. I liked that he wasn't really putting on a front of I'm somebody I'm not. And
Right.
that's what I didn't want to be. I wanted to be original. I wanted to be different in my market. I wanted to be me. I didn't want to have to be anybody else. And Q really sticks to being who he is,
Right.
right? He sticks to being who he is, taking care of his family, taking care of his business. And so I valued that and I saw that. And so when I met him in person, it was no different than watching a YouTube video.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's always easiest to relate to somebody who you either look like or have a different, similar background, and kind of make those connections. So that's a good thing. Now, let me ask you: you've got a military background as well, right?
Yes, sir.
I've personally found, as I was getting into wholesaling and real estate myself, and just in a general sense as a tool, that you still have some jitters with some things. For you, even though you come from the military, bullets flying, mortars falling, what was your apprehension as you started your wholesaling real estate journey, and how did you get through it?
Um, how did I get through? That's a really good question, bro. I honestly could say though I didn't have really any issues. I took the training that was applied
Right.
in the military and I
Mhm.
applied it to what we do in real estate.
How so?
Um, that lack of fear, right?
Okay.
I'll run into the fire. I'll run into the battle. I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of my brothers, my sisters, my family.
I like it.
Um, the upfront approach of eye contact, right? That's really important in the military. You know that, and the
Yep.
discipline, that discipline and the consistency of I have to do this, and if I do it repeatedly and I do it enough, right? Train as you fight.
Right.
I'm going to execute.
Let's
And
go.
that played the biggest thing. And even now I still apply military habits and terminology in my business. So it's pretty, I would say, lucrative to like our journey and our success. I don't know if I ever went through the army, I'd be able
Hmm.
to do and perform the way I do now.
Really? Okay. So you credit
Yeah.
that just to the training alone, and just kind of going through the fire, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Nice. That's fantastic, man. So, what part of that though did you add your spin to it? Because the military, Lord knows, is not a negative by any means, but they will beat it out of you if you if you let them,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
the question for you is, how'd you come out with that? Because you have a certain swagger about you, you have a certain confidence, and it's not just a military thing, in my opinion. It's got to be something more. Where do you have that? Where did you get that from?
I think it's just who I am. I think that even when I joined the military
Hmm.
and I went through the army and applied a lot of it, it was meeting. I'll never forget it, and I think you can understand this term. With anybody who doesn't know what's in the military, you do this thing that's called staff duty. It's 24-hour duty.
God
Well,
knows.
I was a brand new private, like first week in the army,
Right.
and they're like, "Hey, new guy, you have 24-hour duty this Thursday. Go get after it." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what does that mean?"
Right.
2 in the morning, I'm sitting there, right, nervous as a bug. Like, what do I do? Sergeant Major comes in. Dude, flipped out. Sergeant Major, uh, didn't know what I was doing, and
Right.
he goes, relax, private, and he goes, let me tell you something. It's going to carry you out through your career. I said, okay, Roger. And he goes, I am no different than you.
Mm.
He goes, I put my pants on the same way you do every morning. The only difference between me and you is rank. And he
Wow.
goes, that's it. And he walks out just like that. He drops the mic, walks out. And at that point, I respected everybody's rank, right? Salutes, parade rest, all of the things that you're supposed to do.
Right.
But I remembered that conversation, and I remembered I gotta always be me. I'm gonna always be me, no matter uniform or not. I'm gonna always be who I am, true to myself. And I've just maintained that. I maintained that in the army. I maintained it when I got out, and even now, still in the reserves, I still keep that level of respect to the uniform, respect to the rank, but also at the same time, we're all humans. We all put our uniforms on the same way.
That is an absolute fact. That is an absolute fact. And the fact that somebody pulled you to the side and said that to you, that's actually pretty impressive, because you don't see that too often. You don't see that all the time. And
No,
that's interesting that somebody would do that. So you've done this all. You've gone through all this stuff, gone through the military, done this piece with the military and your all the endeavors, because you're in quite a few of them. We'll get into that here shortly. But how are you keeping yourself afloat? Because I know with the military, you got training, you've got 2 weekends, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, and God knows you got some kind of training in between there. I'm certain you got to go TDY. For those of you who do not know, that's temporary duty. Yeah, temporary duty. So you go to one place or the other, and the military pays you to go and do whatever work at that location and come back. you got TDY or what have you. How are you keeping that balance with yourself, family, and the other 15 adventures you're on at the same time? How do you do that?
High level of communication
Okay.
is the first thing. First thing is understand how to communicate. This is something that my wife really hounds me on because I'm really big about communicating to the team. I sometimes really suck at communicating with her, and so working on that with her. But communication, obviously having an awesome team behind you that can keep going even when you're not there. They have the answers when you're not there, but it's also doing the things that I would say suck sometimes in business.
Mm.
Where I mean by that, like SOPs and having processes in place, the things that you
What's an
build. And
SOP? What's an SOP? Break that down.
so I'm glad you said that. So SOP is a standard operating procedure. And so
Okay.
what that is it's a detailed line by line as to what each flow looks like. So what is that standard? What is it? What is it if somebody's making a phone call, how do they log in to the
Mm-hmm.
dialer
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the phone call platform? How do they start a campaign? How do they start marketing? How do they pause it if they need to take a 10-minute break
Right.
or go use the restroom? How do they log off? And then how do they pull their analytics or what we call their KPIs, which are
Right.
their key performance indicators,
Indicators. Right.
right? How to put that into the spreadsheet. And then that way, and thank goodness to technology, I a lot of times will have access to Wi-Fi, I'll have access to something that I can use a hotspot. I can bust up my laptop, my iPad, or my phone, and I can still maintain a level of involvement even
Mm-hmm.
when I'm not sitting here or out and about running around. I can still be doing what I need to do. But communication, a team, and proper documentation of what everything needs to look like, really.
Really? All right. So when you say proper documentation, this is where I feel like it gets really tricky in any business, to be honest. What are you looking at when you're going through those documents? Because for me, I know for me on my side with all the content stuff, I very quickly realized, man, I've got to get some organization to this thing. Otherwise, I've got a computer full of just random bloopers and videos and blog points or whatever else. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. How are you keeping yourself organized? How are you coming up with, hey, this is what the structure needs to be? How do you do that?
So I do a few things. So what I'll do, for example, is I'll put myself in that seat. So and I'm sure you're familiar with this term, left seat, right seat,
Left seat, right seat. Talk to me.
right? So left seat, right seat is I'm going to do this job
Okay.
and I'm going to document it and write it out as each step goes.
Right.
Okay, if it is logging onto the dialer, I'll use that example again. If it's logging onto the dialer, what does that look like? Okay, I have to use this link to this website. I'm looking at these login credentials. I'm going to
Right.
apply those to that login, right? And you go through it little by little. So what I'll do is I'll document that process, like literally line by line,
Mm-hmm.
by in bullet points. Step one, step two, step three, and then I'll even go as far as to record a video of me doing it and me
Ooh.
talking through it,
Ooh. I feel like that's the key
right?
right there, though. That's the key right there.
It
Wouldn't you say?
is.
Because you putting that in some kind of video format, get somebody to be able to sit down and look at it. So basically, you're just duplicating yourself, right?
Exactly. So then I can mitigate one, I can mitigate the opportunity of, hey, Joseph, how do I do this? Hey,
Right.
Joseph, can you help me with this?
Right.
My first question, anytime anybody, whether it's a virtual assistant or someone on the team says, where is this? I can now say to them, did you read the SOP? Did you watch the training video? Did you do what you needed to do?
Right.
Oh, I missed step three. Got it.
I love it. I
Right.
love it. That's smart, man. That's smart because it makes it easier for you and your team. Because what happens is you duplicate yourself. Then when the next person comes around, you need to update the SOP. You get that person who's been doing it to update it. Now they're duplicating
Yeah,
yourself. So you're literally just made three Josephs at the same time. So
exactly.
that's clean sense right there. That's clean sense. So how many businesses are you running at the same time? How many are you involved in at the same time?
I'm involved in three right now.
All right, here we go. So rank them easiest to hardest. I want to see what's the easiest and what's matter of fact. Before you do that, let's talk about each one of them. Give me a breakdown of all three of those businesses and what they do.
Okay, so the first business is the wholesaling business, or what I'm starting to just call is our real estate investing business, because
Okay.
now we're not just dabbling into wholesaling, getting more heavily involved in creative financing. We're getting a little more involved in mentorship and coaching. We're getting involved in helping other people with their deals, um, whether it's through another community we're a part of, or whatever we
Right.
can do to give value back to the community itself. So it's now grown from wholesaling to investing, which is amazing. Um, that business, I would say, to a degree, is the
Hmm.
easiest because it's the one we've been working on, so I understand it at a higher level.
Right.
And I have people in my life. I have the right people. I'm gonna specify the word right. I have the right people in my life and the
Right.
right people in business, to be by my side, and an awesome team of people who are next to me, who think and act and move like I, and all of us. It's a family, and so I love it. So in relevance, it would be the investing business first.
Hmm.
The second business that is newer. It's about 2 months new. Is our dispositions company, Buyer Recon. Um, it's getting leads. Basically, what we're doing is we're helping other investors find buyers for their deals, and it's fantastic and it's great. And we love helping other investors, and getting them the right cash buyer or buy and hold investor, whatever the case may be, because
Right.
it's a lot of times situational. It's just finding the right process and making sure what works and what doesn't, and finding honestly the most optimal way to go through it. So, do we beta test some things still? Absolutely. Is it perfect? No, not
No.
by any
Right.
means. Um, but I understand, right? I understand that at least the conversations, and I understand the flow of how the transaction goes. So
Right.
having that knowledge does help immensely. The biggest thing is having a partner as well in that business, um, because again, I can't wear every hat, and that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, is thinking they got to do this and they got to do that, and now I got to call this person, when you could easily delegate or hire that position out. And so in that business, I would find giving up a portion of the equity in that within that company,
Right.
because I can't give all 8, 10, 12 hours a day to that.
Right.
I spend time building it, but it needs to be at night. Right. So,
Right.
um, for anybody who's a new investor, don't build your business. Like, don't do these documentations and think, oh, Joseph said I need to build my business in the day. No, you need to be working in or on your business during the day, meaning marketing, getting leads, selling your deals, making money, right?
Facts.
The building portion of it happens at night. The last business, which, I will say is the nearest to my heart, is my favorite, but it can go so many ways, and it's right there on the pop up right there, is the Legacy Makers, LGCYMKRS. And
Right.
so that brand is built on the word legacy. And
Hmm.
what that means to me, what it means to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't think about, is that everyone has a legacy. You have a legacy.
Yep.
Your audience have legacies, whether they're an entrepreneur, whether they have a day job, whether they're in the military, whether they're retired, whatever it is, there's a legacy there to be left.
Right.
Now, the choice though, in the thought process behind it, is what are you going to do with that legacy? Are you going to change what was passed down to you and make it better?
Mm. Mm.
Are you going to let it be stagnant and be the same thing? Because when I
Mm.
look at my life, as thankful as I am for my parents, and regardless of what everything happened as a child, I will never let that of what happened to me happen to my
Right.
daughter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so it's up to me to change that trajectory. So that's almost like the morale and the mantra behind the Legacy Makers. And so with that, I have so many crazy ideas with giving back to the community, whether it's both locally,
Hmm.
nationally, and the vision is to go globally and start doing international aid, in all sorts of ways, whether it's building buildings, giving back water, whether food,
Love it.
for the community is something I'm really heavy about right now. It's
Hmm.
just it's been a journey, but it's finding the niche and not trying to be. I need to slow back my ambitious ambition, I should say, a little bit.
No, man, don't hold back the ambition. I love it. I love it. I think that's good. Why though is Legacy Makers your favorite? Because you didn't really get into that. Like you said, it's your favorite, and I know
Yeah,
you're super passionate about it. But why are you so passionate about Legacy Makers?
I think because I naturally I'm a human being that's built on wanting to help others. I
Okay.
love helping people, and so that platform, that brand, gives me the ability to do that at a high level, and to all sorts of people, not just distressed homeowners, not
Right.
just cash buyers.
Right.
Um, I can now touch and impact people all over the country. And it's amazing to do that. And that's what's my favorite. It gives me a true sense of purpose. And that's what a lot of people have take a long time
To
finding
figure
is
out.
what is my purpose,
That's
right?
interesting.
And so
I actually had somebody ask me a question. I want to say yesterday, and they said, if you had $400 million right now, would you still be doing what you're doing? And I was like, I don't know. Right? I thought, it was like, man, that's a good question. But the way you sound, man, it sounds like you figured that out already for yourself.
it's a process, right? And when I say like my ambition, it's because it can bounce between I'm going to create merchandise so that way I can, sell t-shirts or hoodies or whatever it is, and I can take
Right.
portions of that profit, put
Right.
it towards new projects. I can put it towards growing the brand, building more awareness, all these things, and then it's jumping into new avenues of business, the business realm. And I mean, how far do I want to take this thing? How big do I want it to get? Because I know I
Mm,
can take it. I know I can take it far, and I know I can take it far with the community. It's just timing. It's making sure that I execute timely into
right.
where I don't take on too much
Right.
too quick, because I don't want to fizzle out, which happens to people.
Let me ask you, do you find yourself, because this is, I think, something you and I, we've talked about before, but we kind of have in common, is the continued ambition. We're always going to push forward to something else, whatever it might be. We're going to push forward to something else. Do you find yourself loading up your plate too fast and too quick all the time?
Sometimes, yeah.
How
There's
do
there's times where go ahead.
No, 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 go ahead. Go ahead. Times where?
There's times where I do. I think your question was going to be how do I handle that
Well, I wasn't going to
or
say
something.
even how you handle it. My question was going to be, how do you keep from doing, like, that's one thing that I'm struggling with. I'm discovering that I'm struggling with right now is every time I feel like I've gotten something off the plate, here I go. I'm gonna go grab something else and pull it in, and it's become, at this point, it's almost like a habit. So I'm realizing it now, and I'm like, okay, I've got to start pulling back. I wanted to see how you're keeping yourself from doing that, and how do you pull that back on yourself?
It's using my strengths, as in creating relationships. I'm really
Right.
good at creating relationships.
Yeah.
Um, and how can I how and I approach it in the sense of how can I help this person
Mm-hmm.
where they can also help me. But the
Mm,
key in that
okay.
is me helping first.
Right.
I don't like asking for things. That's just not who I am. I don't enjoy doing that.
Right.
I like giving value first before taking value. And so that's helped me a lot, is realizing I can't do everything and I'm not the best at everything. So the perfect example was I knew that the Legacy Makers website needed some refreshing. It needed to be
Right.
updated.
Right.
I could do it. I probably won't do it that great though,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then timing. And so I look for a developer and I say, hey, this is what I'm looking to accomplish. This is an example of something I want it to look like. Can you do it?
Right.
And obviously, in this case, it was a developer, so the value for this was monetary for them, and for me, it's obviously a refreshed website. Um, and so writing down the things that I'm good at, and then prioritization is like huge. what
Mm-hmm.
what do I need to get done today is helpful. What do I need to get done in a week, in a month? And then obviously, do they correspond with my goals? Do they correspond with my vision? And which one of these is the highest producing activity that I can do? And which one
Right.
of these, or how many of these, can I delegate? If you
Mm,
can delegate them, that's like game changing, because if you can find somebody to do it, and something one of my mentors said is, if somebody can do something 80% better than you,
right.
delegate it. And
Mm,
so took that and I applied it to like everything. And he went as far as like, dude, delegate your delegate your yard work, delegate your laundry, delegate this. And I'm like, I'm like, it makes sense. Like it does. I get it. Cause your time is so valuable, right?
right.
I have this sweatshirt. Funny enough, I got it from Walmart,
Okay.
and it says, the most motivational hoodie I've ever gotten. It says, time is a currency you can only spend once.
Ooh. Ooh, that's good. Hold on.
Right?
Time is a currency from Walmart, bro?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Walmart? Walmart has this? Not Target. We talk about
No,
Walmart right now.
we talk about Walmart. I was like,
Yeah, what's
I
happening?
walked by. I was there for like army stuff, dude. Just some like cheap socks. I was like, I
Right.
just need some real quick. And I look over and I'm like, okay, Walmart, you
Wait
stepping
a
up. And I was
second. Right. Yeah, I didn't know Walmart was known for prolific quote hoodies. Like, what's going on?
right.
All right, I guess it's not all Bud Light hoodies for no reason. All right, cool. So
Yeah.
with that said, you said earlier you have a lot of good people around you,
Mhm.
and it's kind of we kind of come full circle here a little bit, but you got a lot of good people around you. How did you do that? How did that happen? Was that by accident, or did you actually go out and sat down and built that out?
Uh, some of it was by accident. I think some of it was God's timing,
Right,
right? For sure.
right,
Just the right timing. Some of it is intentional. You start to realize the people in your life who are toxic. You start to realize the people in your life who don't don't push you in
right,
life. They don't have similar ambitions. They don't have a vision. They are just basically on cruise control
right,
in life. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just it doesn't play with me, and it doesn't mesh with me in the sense of um we're not the same. We're not
right,
going to go to the same place, and
right,
that's okay. A lot of people feel like, oh, if I cut somebody off and they've been in my life forever, that it's over, and it doesn't have to be that way. And something that my pastor said to me, into the congregation, which I keep talking about, I've been talking about for months now, is you have your circle of concern and you
mm-hmm.
have your circle of influence,
Mm,
and you can care for everybody. And like I said earlier, I care about everybody. That's just me. It's a blessing and it's a curse.
right,
Um, and so with that, I have realized to identify who influences me, who
mm,
influences my decisions, both personally and in business. And anybody who's not in that circle or in that realm is just in my circle of concern. And that's okay. So the negative people, the people who try to put you down, the people who tell you you can't do it or that's crazy and stuff like that, there's always going to be people like that.
right,
Now, whether you take it and let that stem in your brain, I mean, that's honestly a personal thing. That's something that you would have to fight, just something you have to combat. But other than that, I mean, it's okay. You have to understand it's okay to not have everybody in your ear talking to you.
did any of those did any of that, when you had to kind of let somebody go, did it at all for anybody hurt, just kind of internally, did it really bother you, and then how did you address that, the fact that you were bothered by that, because it would be for an important person most likely, right? So
Yeah, I mean, the one that comes to mind is one of my oldest. He was one of my oldest best friends,
okay,
and we literally have the same name. And so when I went home to visit, when we got dinner, I realized how far apart we are.
mm,
I'm married. I've got a kid. I'm running businesses. I'm doing this, and I'm still in the military. And he was still working a job, which is fine. Again, it's fine. People can work a job. He's living at home with his parents still, and just two very different lifestyles. And so it ended it off with, "I love you, bro. I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm
right,
always going to be here, whatever you need. However, I mean, I just hate to say it, our conversations and what we're doing right now, man, like we're talking about the past. I don't live in the past anymore. I don't live there. I live
right,
here. I live with
right,
right. I live with my family. I have a vision, goals, and stuff like that. And so, um, he had his feelings too about it, but it's okay, right? It's okay. And we still check up on each other. How's it going, bro? Good. That's awesome, man. Do you need anything? And I'm always that guy. Do you need anything?
right,
Um, but I think it hurt for a little bit because it's like, man, you were my boy, like you're my oldest friend,
yeah,
and you know it's okay because again, I look at it now in my life from the right people, right? I got guys like you, right? I got my
appreciate it,
wife. Um, yeah, of course, bro. I've got amazing people around me, and learning how to find the right people in your life, right? Energy is huge. I pick up on energy a lot better now than I used to, and uh, and so that right energy, when you feel it, you feel it.
yeah, yeah, I'm with you, yeah, it's definitely a thing. That's dope. Okay, that's interesting. So you talked earlier as well, and matter of fact, this was off the record, but we were talking about the Ruck March thing. Tell the people about the Ruck March thing, because I want to make sure we get that out in the public. Maybe not out in the public, but they get to hear about it, maybe get be inspired. So go for it.
So the Ruck March is going to be sponsored by Legacy Makers, and what I'm doing is right now I'm training physically and mentally because you know how a Ruck March is.
It
It's
sucks.
it's mental. It's so mental. So I'm rock marching from Tucson, Arizona to Phoenix, Arizona,
Whew.
and it's 124 miles, and I'm doing it to bring awareness to the homeless veteran community, and what the vision of it is, the sponsorship money and money that comes in through this event. The vision is to, and I mean, like I was telling you, I told you off the record that I'm only going to let your audience know first, and so y'all who watch this, don't tell everybody.
Exclusive.
The vision exclusive.
I gotta get a
The
soundbite for
vision
that.
exclusive,
Right.
right? The vision the vision is to buy a plot of land, and either get tiny homes or Connex boxes and fabricate them into tiny homes
Love it.
and open a rehabilitation center for homeless veterans, and it's going to be named Fort Legacy. And so I want to pull together other sponsors. I want to pull together other big organizations who are going to obviously help me, because this is huge. This is something I've never done. And so I'm reaching out to the Wounded Warrior Project. I'm reaching out to a numerous amount of possible sponsors. There's my wife right there. Uh, and so um, it's exciting and it's fun, and I think this is the first step for the legacy makers to give back to a huge community. And so the vision is to start it off in Tucson and grow it to become nationwide, to
Right.
where homeless veterans all over the country have somewhere to go, and they know that they're going to get the help they need, and they're going to get the resources they need. Because a lot of veterans, and I know this, you know this, most veterans know this, I hate to say it, the VA is sometimes sucks a lot, and the
Yeah.
veterans don't get what they need, and then they don't even know about the resources that are available.
That's a fact.
And
That's
so
absolute
I think
fact.
I think with enough podcasting and enough branding and enough awareness, and thank God for social media, right? You can
Right.
now generate thousands of views using social media. And
Bro.
so if I can get enough people to spread the message,
Mm. Man,
then
that's
the
gonna
masses will do.
that's gonna
Yeah,
be all. First of all, 124 miles. You say, right? Is that right? Is that correct?
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
man, you better do a lot of squats. That's gonna be that's gonna be a lot of walking, bro. That's a
Yeah,
lot of walking. What weight are you going with? You going 60 pound on your rock or 20?
I'm doing 50.
50.
Yeah, 50
Okay,
pounds.
so ladies and gentlemen, for those of you listening, right? We in the military will do what we call a ruck march, and normally it's like 15, 20 miles, 30 miles, stuff like that. Special forces do it, infantry do it, just about all military forces do it in some form or fashion. 100 and some odd miles is a lot of miles to walk, number one. Number two, normally the weight can vary. Normally you won't see a lot of people go over 60. I've seen 70, I've seen 80. Some hard chargers like David Goggins go 100, 200. But for just somebody who's doing it and hasn't done it in a while, like Joseph, I love you. I know you ain't done no ruck march recently.
It's
That's a, that's gonna be a heck of amount of weight and a huge task for you to take on. So, bro, that I have to commend you in just the thought process of doing it. That is dope. The question though is, how long is it going to take you? Is this like you got a tent? You gonna have a tent in there as well, and maybe like some
so
Nalgene water bottles or something like that?
basically, so I've been training the last few weeks. I've
Okay.
been training the last few weeks. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I did 15 miles. Um, every week prior to that, it's been about 5 to 2 miles extra.
Okay.
Um, and so it's fun to get back into it and see like how my body is responding to it, because yeah, you're right, it was years, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this crazy idea. I have this vision, let's do it. um the plan is to the first 40 miles, because I'm going to split it up into about 3 days. The first
Okay.
40 miles I will barely be at the edge of Tucson, so the plan is to go that far, get a ride home,
Mm-hmm.
shower, eat, you know uh, rest my feet, all that fun stuff. And then the next day get dropped back off at that point, and then
Mm-hmm.
just walk the rest of the route. And so at that point, I'll be about 80 miles in. So more than likely, wherever I am, not camp, if there's a hotel, get a hotel.
Right.
So I can clean, shower, and all that stuff, and then finish off the next day strong.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Whoo, buddy. Whoo.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right. Cool. I'm with it. I'm with it. I like it. I'm gonna support you 120, man. Let me know how I can support and who I can help get you in contact with. Matter of fact, I might be able to help with the homeless veterans thing. I got some people who I can connect you with that might be able to assist you. So
That'd be amazing, bro.
absolutely. Let me write that down. Homeless vets, Joseph. Okay. I'm gonna remind myself for later. So that's fantastic, bro. All right, so we're gonna close this out right now with a couple questions at the end, and then we're gonna go into the FAQ. And for those of you tuning in, our format has changed a little bit. What happens now is we'll do an interview with our guests, of course. We'll go through it. We'll hit our traditional 2 questions at the very end. Then we'll go into a FAQ, but the FAQ will air and be posted mainly on YouTube as one video, and then it'll also be separate when it comes to the podcast itself. So you'll have, in this particular instance, it'll be, let's say, Joseph episode is 45.0. The FAQ will be 45.2 and a solo conversation between you and I to hear what my thoughts were on what Joseph's talking about and how you can apply it. That'll be 40.1. Okay, so with that said, and that kind of cleared up, 2 questions we asked at the end every episode, Joseph, is 1, give the listeners right now a troop to task, something they can do right now to get on the right path on where you're at.
To get on the right path. It's super cliche sounding, and
Okay.
I got it from Will Smith. Fail early, fail often, fail forward. It's one of my favorite quotes. And I think if you get the failures done early, you do it often enough, but always the most important of those 3 is fail forward.
Right.
If you're gonna fall, right? I went to do a ruck a week ago, twisted my ankle, could have gave up, could have gave in, finished out another 4 miles, and then I made it home.
Let's go.
So it sucked. And it did not feel good, but I fell forward. You always fail forward. So that's something I think anybody can apply to anything, no matter what it is, whether it's a weight loss journey, whether it's a business adventure, whether it's in a new job. Do something crazy, do something out of the ordinary, get uncomfortable, and execute on whatever it is that you say you're going to do.
I like it. Thug life. Matter of fact, ruck life. I love it. Keep that going, bro. Keep that going. Okay, so the next question we ask after every episode, and this one's a little bit tougher than the other one, and I never prepare anybody for it. What question do you wish you were asked more often, and what's the answer to that question?
Oh, what question do I wish I was asked more often?
Yep. No pressure. No pressure.
I know. There's so many coming to my head. One of them's a swear. One of them has a swear word. Another one's like,
hey, listen. This is Freak Nation. We fight for the freedom to use whatever words you want to use. Go for it.
got you. What the fuck are you doing? Like, but in that tonality, right? In that
Right.
tonality. And the answer to that would be, you're right. Let me get back.
Now, why does that question stand out so much to you? Why is that the question that popped in mind? You think that was most influential?
Because I know myself really well, and I know myself in the past. There's times where if I get inconsistent and I catch a habit of inconsistency, that's the first thing I say in my head. Literally, it's the first thing. The fuck are you doing?
Right.
And then it's like, you're right. I got to get back to it. Or even my wife, when she sees it, she'll call me out.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, she should.
She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, she should.
And
that's what a good wife does.
I'm blessed at it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Even with anything in life, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
right.
You're right. I got to get back to it.
That's fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end here, and we're going to go into the FAQ. So if you're watching, hang on or go to the next episode on YouTube. I don't know how that works on YouTube. I haven't figured that part out. But go to the next one. You can tell we just do this raw. Joseph, like, I don't even... it's not even scripted. I'm just going with whatever comes to mind. So we're going to do this. We're going to split it up, and we're going to hit our outro right now. And then for those of you who are on YouTube, and even those of you that are listening, on the next episode, you'll be able to hear the frequently asked questions we go through with Joseph. So let's hit this outro. Joseph, thank you so much for being on, bro. Please let them know where they can get a hold of you, where they can find you, where they can support you. And I need you to give like all the business stuff. If you got affiliate, matter of fact, we're going to get affiliate links. We'll talk about that later. We're going to get some affiliate links. We're going to put those in the show notes. We're going to put them on the YouTube. We're plastering those bad boys everywhere. But for now, I want you to give all the information you can on what you're doing and how they can support you.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to get in touch with me, it's easy to find me, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. It's literally my name, Joseph Frangos. A lot of people confuse the spelling, Frangos. Send me a DM, reach out to me, comment on a video, whatever it is, just hit me up, or go hit up and please, please go hit pictures on Instagram or Facebook, LGCYMKRS, and just communicate. You know what I mean? Communicate, share the vision, share the brand, and help me grow this bad boy.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Joseph, thanks again for coming on, brother. I could not ask for a better
Thank
person
you,
to get
man.
on here, man. This has been dope. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you still watching, still tuned in, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this with somebody who you know is looking into the wholesaling world, would like to know more about what they can do if they're in the military and getting into the wholesaling, and maybe they can learn some lessons, or even reach out to Joseph and get some lessons on what he has learned and how they can help them, or how he can help them, and they can help them as him as well. So, all right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you guys later.